All right, folks, I'm on a little bit early. Wasn't sure how much longer that last 4 minutes was going to last. All right. So we did win the game, which is important. We don't know about Nico. Could be a shoulder, could be a concussion. We don't know. The young lady that was on the sideline seemed to think it was a shoulder, but we really don't know. So I've been looking online, trying to go on Twitter, aka X. Nobody knows. So the fact he didn't come out, I don't know. You would think if it's a shoulder, he would come out, but I don't. It just depends on what. I don't know. Velo says it's a collarbone. What makes you think it's a collarbone? Where are you getting that from? I mean, it could be. Could definitely be, but I don't know. So anyway, that's unfortunate. We're just going to have to, look, here's the thing about sports. I do know something about it. You got to move forward with Gaston and just assume that. And if Nico comes back next week, that's great. That's fantastic. If he doesn't, you go with Gaston and you say that's our starter and that's our guy. Hopefully, Nico can come back next week. It'll be no problem. Outside, obviously he's injured. But the fact he didn't come out to the sideline concerns me. That's normally not good. So I don't know. He seemed okay. But, if it's a concussion, that's different. That's certainly possible, that he wouldn't come out if it was that. So I don't know. We won't know for probably 24 hours. We'll probably find out tomorrow sometime or Monday. It might be Monday. I wouldn't think we'll probably find something out tomorrow, I would think. But it could be tomorrow. Look, Gaston's a fine quarterback. We'll just have to go with him until Nico is ready to go. That's all you can do. So let's take a look at our numbers here. It was, he was playing great. Nico was playing really well. He was 8 for 13, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was killing it out there. He was really playing well. Gaston was 5 for 8, 38 yards. He made some nice passes. They had a couple of pass interferences on his throws, so that helped. Dylan Sampson had a nice game, 30 carries, 140. He was a workhorse out there. Had the one fumble. Dante got hurt. He was playing well. He had that one huge play, big touchdown. And Squirrel White had a touchdown as well. So that's how that all looked there. Let's see what Mississippi State. We were not, that up the middle, we just weren't playing that. They had the numbers big time. They had the numbers in a major way. And I guess we just decided we were going to let them run the ball and not throw it. Because if you look at their numbers, look at this team stats here. They only had 92 yards passing, 179 rushing. We had 240 rushing, which was huge. And something important down here, when we started running the ball just to, run the clock, we had 34 minutes. Time possession, they had 25, which you never see that with a Tennessee team. But, we had a unique situation. Man, Nico was looking so good. He was throwing the ball so pretty. But I thought he got maybe hurt when he had that 7-yard run, but it might have been after that. So just from the way he hit the ground, it could be. I don't know. I saw him kind of wrenching his shoulder. You saw him after that. He was kind of doing that. So I'm wondering if it's a shoulder. I don't know. If Nico's out, yeah, they'll definitely punish us. If he's out for the rest of the year or something crazy, yeah, they'll punish us for sure if we don't, look good with Gaston. Now, granted, if you go out there and he plays well, they're going to take a look at that for sure. If we're out there scoring 30, 40 points a game and winning, then they won't punish us at all. But if we do like Florida State did last year and we're scoring 7 and 10 points and 13 and all that and don't look good on offense and we're winning with defense, and we lose to Georgia, yeah, they'll punish us. I definitely think they will. So, broken collar. I don't know if some people are saying, well, I'm not even going to put that up because we don't know. I'm not seeing that on Twitter. Let's see what it says now. It says, strong win despite the injury, blah, 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 blah. I'm not seeing anything about collarbone, but it could, I mean, certainly could be. From the reports online. Yeah, the fact he didn't come out concerns me. I mean, that's not good. So, damn. So unfortunate. That's the thing, man. You got to keep your quarterback healthy, and it's hard to do. It's very hard to do. Look how many, I mean, Florida had 2 quality quarterbacks and went through both of them. They're just the weirdest things can happen out there. You can see a guy like Graham Mertz who looked fine. He was just backing up, and he had a terrible injury. So, if it was a sore shoulder, why not? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Or if it's a concussion, they wouldn't probably bring him out. Some people are saying collarbone. Some people are saying it's not. I don't know. Gaston looked fine. Gaston's a 5th-year senior. He's not a hack. Okay. He's not a bad quarterback. I can go ahead and tell you that. He's not Nico, but he's not some hack. I remember when we lost Tony White, and who was the quarterback that came in that year when we won the Sugar Bowl? We lost Tony and gosh dog it, Dickey. Was it Daryl Dickey that came in and we won the Sugar Bowl with him? So, but hopefully Nico's going to be okay at some point. I don't know. Not feeling good about the Georgia game, him playing in that. Daryl Dickey, that's it. Yeah, Daryl Dickey. I went to the Sugar Bowl that year. And what did we beat them, 35-7? Yeah, I remember being in the Superdome. I remember I was in the upper deck, and that thing was sloped. Holy crap. I was like, man, I'm going to fall off this thing onto the field. I never seen such a slope on an auditorium or whatever the crap you call that. Yeah, our kicker was 4 for 4. I was so happy for him as a freshman. Gosh, imagine the relief. He must have felt like crap all week. And then to go in there and hit 4 in a row, I mean, he played a huge part. So, yeah, Sampson came back in and played well. So, Country Vol, I agree with you there. At least he's playing well. And I think he's okay. Like I said, we just don't know about Nico. It's a problem. Oh, man, it's so hard to keep a quarter. Remember when we lost? The worst was when we lost Dadgum Hendon Hooker. Oh, but that was pretty – we knew what that was immediately. I mean, when you have the non-contact injury, but this was a contact injury, I think, obviously. So, I don't know. I doubt we'll find out tonight. We'll probably find out something tomorrow. That's not something you're going to be able to keep under your hat. I would think it'll come out in the next probably by noon tomorrow or by 5 o'clock or something. If not, then Monday for sure, because it's too big a news. I'm trying to look on here under X to see if there's anything at all that anybody thinks. Yeah, so nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. It's got to be one of 2 things. It's either the shoulder or or a concussion. What else could it be? I mean, we saw him, but crap. Yeah, I'd say you're right, John. It'll probably be, I doubt we'll get a leak. Yeah, we did. I almost wonder if that wasn't, I don't want to call that on purpose, but I think they decided to force them to run because, I mean, we only had 5 in the box multiple times, and they've got 5 guys blocking, plus we didn't have the numbers were on their side. So here's the thing. It's very hard to have multiple backup quarterbacks. It's just incredibly difficult. You saw what Ole Miss had. They had a redshirt freshman who was a 3-star. Now, he played really well in that one series, but that was their backup, was a redshirt freshman 3-star. It's just kind of the way it was. That's life in the transfer portal. You're not going to have some big-time quarterback behind that guy unless he's really young. You know, Manning out there in Texas is kind of rare. And then you had DJ Lagway, who was a true freshman. That's about as good as you can hope for. I mean, you're just not going to have a lot of great quarterbacks sitting there on the bench because they don't have to sit on the bench anymore. Those days are over. It's not, 10 years ago when you could have 3 or 4 guys and have a multiple backups. It's just you're lucky if you've got a Gaston Moore as a backup, a 5th-year senior that knows everything Heupel knows and can spin it. I think he's a decent quarterback. I really do. I think we're fortunate to have him. I felt that way all year that at least we've got Gaston if something were to happen. Merklinger is a true freshman is the only problem with him. He's a fine quarterback. I mean, he's a strong 4-star, but true freshman, I'd rather have the 5th-year senior any day. He's probably going to handle the pressure better. He's not going to make the mental mistakes. When you've been in an offense for 5 years, you're not going to make mental mistakes. You're going to know exactly what to do with the ball. Now, you may not put it where it's supposed to be, but you're going to know what the crap to do with it. He's basically a coach. At this point, he's a grad assistant is what he is, and he's probably planning on being a offensive coordinator or something like that in the future, which is why he's at Tennessee and he's learning a Heupel system. That would be my guess. Otherwise, he would have gone somewhere where he could play. A 5th-year senior doesn't hang around as a backup unless he's planning on being a coach. And that's what you've got. You've got a coach, a grad assistant out there as quarterback, and he spins it pretty good. Now, he doesn't throw it like Nico, but, there's very few that do. Nico throws it beautifully. Yeah. Yeah, he got hit. That I think that's when he got hurt. The fact he didn't come out concerns me because it could be something significant or, who knows? Yeah, that's like I said, I'd much rather have a 5th-year senior than a redshirt freshman. You see what Florida State's got. They've got nothing. They've got just a couple of freshmen down there that, don't know what the crap to do with the ball. I'd rather have a guy that knows exactly what to do with it. Even if he can't spin it like Nico, I'd much rather have the guy that knows where to put it. That's 50 to 75% of – it's probably 75% of football when you're dealing with athletes of this level. That 75% is knowing exactly where to throw it, given being able to read defenses, knowing where to go with the ball. When you get redshirt freshmen and freshmen in there, it's not going to be good. I love the fact they kept throwing the ball. It's not like they just went full run. Gaston threw it multiple times. He threw it deep multiple times. So he's not afraid to throw it. I don't think he was out there throwing up or anything. He handled it fine. So, yeah, exactly. Here we go. He won't lose you games because of experience. I completely agree. Now, granted, he hadn't played a lot of ball, but he knows what to do. Yep, Pope, you're right. We've not given up 20 points all year, which is just shocking. Think about our defense the last few years. And even though they gashed us a few times, I still think that was I don't want to call it by design, but we gave them the run all night. I think they just didn't want to get hit deep, and they didn't want to get burned because they had under 100 yards throwing. They had 90-something. Thank you, RK. They had under 100 yards throwing the ball. That's outstanding. Do you remember how many times they were throwing over 300 yards against us over the last 3 years? Every game it happened. And now that doesn't happen anymore. So and I was frustrated as you were when they were running the ball up the middle. That sucked. It was making me so mad. But I kind of understood what they were doing because when you put 5 in the box, you're playing 7 back. You're playing 2 high safeties, and you're playing against the pass, and they probably figured our 5 guys could handle their run for the most part, but that's not easy to do against an SEC offensive line and a really good running back, which they had. They had a very good running back. I would have put 6 in there, but what do I know? I'm not a defensive coordinator. I wouldn't have given up that middle. But again, because I would have trusted our defensive backs. But like I said, it worked out great. I mean, we won, and we won handily. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to complain. When I look at this, let's see what that score was. Yeah, 33-14, and you lost your quarterback halfway through the game. I'm not going to complain about that. That'd be kind of psycho to do. So, anyway, I know everybody's concerned, and we do have – look, I mean, we got a problem. There's no doubt. I've got to put this in here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
I mean, we do have a problem. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we don't, but I'm glad we got Gaston Moore behind him, a guy with that knows what to do. He knows exactly what to do. I would be much more concerned if we had to throw a freshman out there that would make me 1,000 times more concerned, because like I said, I don't know that Nico can spin it good enough to beat a Georgia, but he does know what to do with the football. And I'm glad that at least he got to play a half. That's the thing. And who knows, maybe Nico's out for a week. Maybe he misses the Georgia game, but then he comes back. And let's say he's out for a week. Let's say he's in protocol. Maybe it is a concussion. I don't know. He'd be out against Georgia almost certainly. So maybe you get him back in 2 weeks, and I don't know that you can beat Georgia at Georgia with Gaston, but it is what it is. You got to play. Here's the thing about sports. You got to play with what you got. And it's next man up. I mean, I would prepare for Gaston Moore being our quarterback moving forward. And then if Nico comes back, perfect. Great. That's a blessing. We just don't know. Yeah, Boo Carter played great. He's outstanding. True freshman. He made some plays. He ran back that punt. I mean, he did a bunch of stuff. God, he's good. He's only going to get better. And he's doing the worst job in the world, which is running back punts. That is the worst job ever. That's just awful. I appreciate that, Live Free. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard. Honestly, it's hard to come out after an injury like this. It sucks. But on the other hand, we do have Gaston Moore, who I felt good about. Every time I see him play, I can see that he's got talent and he knows what to do. So I wasn't all distraught, other than I was concerned about Nico in the long term. But I thought, Gaston can play. Telling you, a fifth-year senior, he's going to play smart, and he's probably going to play pretty good. He's the type of guy, he's the exact type of guy that Heupel had at UCF, who probably would be a starter down there and play pretty darn well. A guy that would throw for, 2,000, 2,500 yards and would run the ball for another 500. He's that type of guy who is not going to go to the NFL, but would be a darn good college quarterback at that level. He's that guy. Dante, we don't know about Dante. I've not heard a word about him. I'm not sure what it was. If it was a leg injury or what. Yeah. I don't – like I said, we'll know more tomorrow, I would think, for sure. And then we'll know almost certainly Monday. I don't see it going past that. So it is what it is. I mean, you worry about it every game. I mean, you just do. But a quarterback, especially in a Heupel offense, any offense has to run the ball. They just do. You cannot sit back in the pocket and play football in 2024 and your quarterback not run. He has to run the ball. So the College Football Playoff Committee, well, they're not going to do anything yet until they know. I can go ahead and tell you that. They're not a thing. Plus, we're 8-1, folks. We're 8-1, and It's not like we gave up the game in the second half. We extended it. So we've got a defense. This is not 2021 or 22 or 23. We've got a defense. We're in every game. You just might as well know that. We're going to be in every game. That's what happens that's what Alabama and Georgia have done for years. You know why they win so many championships? Because they're never out of a game. Nobody blows them out ever, ever, ever. They just don't do it because they're too good on defense. For 15 years, we had to deal with Alabama. And Georgia's been just as big a pest the last 5 or 6 because they got a great defense. So this is our first year to have a great defense in a long time, since probably Philip Fulmer. I think it's the last time we had a great defense. That was back in, when we had some great players back then. Gosh, some of those guys in the defensive backfield and on the line were unbelievable. Jeff, thank you for that. I'm not going to sit here and get all distraught about it. I'm just not. I think Gaston can play well. I think he knows what to do. I think he knows the playbook as well as Josh Heupel. I know he does. I promise you, if I was in that offense for 5 years, I could sit there and talk to Josh Heupel about it just as well as he could. I mean, what else? That's all the kid does. I mean, he's going to be fine. And if you've watched him in an interview, he's smart as crap. That kid is smart as a whip. So don't worry about whether he's going to make the right decision, wrong decision. He'll make the right decision. The only question is, does he have enough talent? Now, he can run. He can spin it. He's pretty darn good. He's not Nico, but there's nobody out there that throws it the way Nico does as a freshman. So that's why he's made $2 million a year. They don't give you $2 million a year because you're average. They do it because you're very unique. And I don't think it's going to be as big a drop-off as you think if he can't play. It's not going to be quite as big a drop-off. We'll see. You never know. It's a shame it has to be at Georgia. Gosh, it's the worst-case scenario. And Georgia's going to have blood in their eyes because they just got whooped by Ole Miss. And they're up. I mean, their back's against the wall. So, yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's nothing, because he would have definitely been out there. Gaston. Yeah, well, they're going to stop the run next week. I'll just go ahead and tell you. So Gaston's going to have to run the ball. I mean, Gaston's going to have to throw the ball. They'll stop the run. That's what Kirby does, and especially given the circumstances. But if we start throwing the ball pretty good, they'll have to loosen up. So Hype just said Nico is playing. Did you see that somewhere, or is that just a guess? Oh, here we go. Josh Heupel addresses Nico Iamaleava injury. Let me see what he says here. It's on 3. Had good news on. Oh, here we go. Mississippi State saying he expects Iamaleava to be available. Maybe you got to watch out for Heupel, though. He's a gamesman. We anticipate having him ready for next week. Precautionary measures at halftime. Feel like we'll be ready to roll Saturday. You got to watch out for Heupel. He's a games. He plays games. He's not going to want Georgia to know that. But that's a pretty interesting comment. I mean, that's a good comment. It probably means it's not a long-term problem. That's what I would say there. That it's probably short-term. I'm not confident that he'll play next week, but I don't think he would come out there and say that if it was something significant. Let's just put it that way. So I think that's really good news. I mean, there's no way that's not good news. So I feel way better now. I don't feel 100%, but I feel 90% better. So, yeah, it probably would have been better for us had Ole Miss Ole Miss gotten beaten, because then they'd be out of the playoff picture completely, because now you've got Ole Miss and Georgia still in the playoff picture, whereas it would have eliminated one. But, I mean, crap. That's a great win. That's a great win for Ole Miss. To beat Georgia like that, that's huge. They have not beaten a top 5 team in forever, and nor has Lane. So Lane's got to, I'll give the devil his due. I'm not that big an a-hole that I'm not going to give the devil his due. If you beat Georgia, you've done something. I don't care if it's at home. I don't care if it's away. It's always a big win. And then, yeah, Alabama's. I think they've already won the game, haven't they? It was like 28-6 last time I checked. So that's a good win for us. Because it's better for Alabama to play well. Because if we wind up with 2 losses, and they wind up with 2 losses, we'll get in over Alabama. So, yeah, you may be right. They definitely don't like. Well, he's a cheater, in my opinion. Allegedly, he's a cheater. He loves to fake injury you. I didn't see a whole lot of fake injuries in the game today, though. He may be done with that for the most part. He may be tired of being mocked and made a fool of. And I kind of hate it, because I was really enjoying making fun of him. I got to be honest. I was enjoying really giving him grief, because I knew it was effective. And because I had so many Ole Miss fans. They were never mad at me. They were like, we don't like it either. I had 100 comments in the comment section about Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss fans that said, we don't like it either. We think it sucks. We hate it. I maybe 1 or 2 said, oh, you're full of crap. It's real injuries. It was rare, though, because when you see the head coach doing this and then the guy falls down like he's been shot by a gun, yeah, it's pretty obvious. So, and I ignored those kind of comments because I knew they were just being ridiculous. But most of the Ole Miss fans are not idiots, and they knew exactly what he was doing, and they were embarrassed. And they also said, why are we doing this? We're a good team now. We don't have to do that. So anyway, I tell you what, that makes me feel pretty darn good that at least he came out and said that. That surprises me that he would come right out and say that. We anticipate having him ready for next week. Precautionary measure at halftime, feel like we'll be ready to roll Saturday. That's a heck of a statement to say if it's not true. I mean, I would not put it. Heupel is a very, very, he's a gamesman. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. He doesn't like to give up information on it. He doesn't like to do that. But also realize I think it's Wednesday, they've got to say one way or the other. So they'll have him probably as probable or questionable or out. So, yeah, you have to make a decision at, 25, 50, and 75% because of gambling. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So, who knows? Maybe. And, he's got to make you feel better about Gaston Moore the way he played. I thought he played well. To come in at halftime in those circumstances and to play like he did, I was pleased. He didn't turn the ball over. He made some nice passes. He got some third downs that were really key. And I thought he was fine. Had it not been for the pass interferences, he might have had a touchdown or 2. So we'll see. Yeah, it might be fine. I thought Gaston did fine. It's not like he was, it's not like he wore it out, but crap, can you imagine going into a game like that? You hadn't played in a long time, and you've got to go in front of 100,000 people and start throwing a football against an SEC quality team that's licking their chops. I mean, they cannot wait to knock your head off. And you've not played in any serious football in a long time. And he comes out there, and I thought he looked just fine, honestly. I mean, he did way better than I would have, because I would have gone out there. First thing I'd have done is probably throw up. And then I would have been like the guy on The Replacements. I would have had to throw up first, and then I think I'd have been okay. So what was his name? Y'all, his name, not the actor, but the guy. It was crap. What was his name? Dang it! Now it's on my mind. I got to think of it. Johnny Utah. Let's see what we got here from Vol fan. He says Gaston, Nico, Beck. UT defeats UGA. We are good next week. Go Vols. Thanks, Jay. I hope you're right. That'd be a great win. Man, we can live without that win, but man, it would solidify us. It would guarantee us the playoff, especially beating them at Georgia. That's a hard place to win, and it's at night. Do you know how loud that place is going to be? And, yeah, it's going to be super loud. And I highly doubt our radio guy, former quarterback. Oh, crap, I'm drawing a blank. Really good quarterback that he's on it from 12 to 3. Crap, I enjoy that show too on 990. What's his name? Dag Nabbit. Can't believe I can't think of his name right now. Y'all know who I'm talking about. When he said a couple of years ago, said, Georgia's not that loud. He was like, he regretted that so much. No, it wasn't Pat Ryan. Ainge. Yeah, it was Ainge. Eric Ainge, who, you know, it's funny, when Eric started that show, I didn't think I would like it because I was like, oh, he just got the show because he was a quarterback. He's pretty darn good. I mean, he really knows what he's talking about, and I like his show. It's actually fun. Yeah, Eric Ainge, that's exactly it. Yeah, I can't believe I couldn't think of that name. I'm under a lot of stress. Nico being hurt has stressed me. All right? I'm performing injured right now. I'm mentally injured by that. Nobody likes Eli Drinkowitz. Nobody likes Eli. Go ahead and get in line, man. Oh, man. Eli is standing on business. Yeah, he's always freaking standing on business. He's so annoying. I'm so mad we're not playing them. They're nothing. I tell you, they struggle without Brady Cook. Did they win that game against Oklahoma? I didn't get a chance to see that. Yeah, I can look. You should always be concerned playing Georgia. They're contact one. Thank you for the $2. Yeah, look, I'm concerned playing them after a win or a loss, but I'm glad we got a win. We're 8-1, folks. You like Heupel? You like Danny White, Tony V? How about Rick Barnes winning by 20 today over Louisville? At Louisville. Rick Barnes has always got his team ready in the first of the season. He just does. I did a show after that. I was so pumped. They look great. They really look great, especially, first of the year. I mean, you're going to stink. I mean, you're trying to get all those transfer guys in, trying to get them playing on the same page, which is very difficult to do. And our new guy played great, scored 19. And, of course, Zeke Ziegler played great because he's the best guard in the SEC, by the way. In case anybody's wondering who the best guard is, he's definitely the best defensive guard. I wish he could play for 30 years. It would be great to have him. I'm putting him in the Hendon Hooker Hall of Fame, a guy that you just wish could play forever for your team. That's not impossible that we would beat Georgia and lose to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's pretty darn good. South Carolina beat them, didn't they, today? They were up 21-7. So, Mizzou did? Did they really? God, Eli's so lucky. He's so lucky. I really didn't think they would win. I thought they'd lose without Brady Cook because they're not very good without him. So, yeah, it looks like South Carolina did beat them, 28-7, Daryl? $28-7. That doesn't surprise me. I thought South Carolina would be able to. They've got that good defense. They're tough. That defense is tough. And I tell you what, Lenore Sellers he's starting to get it together. He had a play today that was unbelievable. They had him at the 1-yard line sacked, and he got out of it somehow and then wound up throwing a 70-yard pass. So that ability to run and being 6'3", 250 doesn't hurt either because they had him. Our red zone offense, first of all, we fumbled in one. The other one we went for it on fourth down, didn't get it, which that was unfortunate. I don't know. It didn't seem like we took this game as seriously as we probably should have. They didn't say, I don't know. It just kind of felt like we were playing with them there at first. And then I kept thinking, you keep screwing around with a team like this. They are an SEC team. They're not, Kent State or Little Sisters of the Poor. So anyway, let's see. That was Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Yeah, look, it's hard to score in the red zone. I'll tell you what made me happy today was our kicker hitting 4 straight. I tell you, I felt for that kid missing 3 in a row as a freshman. I remember being a freshman at UT, being an athlete there in golf. I remember a couple times shooting some scores that just sucked. And just like, God, do I even belong here? I remember thinking that multiple times. Do I even belong here? And you do that as a freshman because, you're playing tougher courses than you're used to. You're playing courses that are longer. You're playing against guys that are better than you, that hit it farther than you do, and it's intimidating. And you're like, crap, can I really play with these guys? But as you get older and you start getting some experience, you realize that you can. But you miss 3 field goals. I never had to miss 3 field goals in a row or miss 3 5-footers in a row in front of 100,000 people. That's different. So, yeah, Heupel's been a great hire. Good God. I would have him over any other coach, especially given our circumstances, because what thank you, JR, what Heupel's offense does for you is it allows you to compete with teams that are more talented than you. But we're becoming just as talented as the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Ohio States and all that. We're not there yet with talent. But again, because you've got this offense, you can compete against teams with more talent. Now, on defense, we're as talented as anybody, which is shocking for me to say because that defensive backfield, we got rid of 10 guys. But the guys we brought in are darn good. And, of course, that defensive line, and it's not just a defensive line, it's the guys behind them that come in right after that are just darn near as good. We're 11 deep on the defensive line, which is you need to be. I was watching the Bama Standard several months ago, and there was a guy that played defensive line. He'd won a national title, and he's really good. He's all SEC. And he played at around 300 pounds, and he was a great defensive lineman. I can't remember his name. But he said, here's the deal playing defensive line at 300 pounds. He said, it's a war. Every play is a war. And after 3 plays, you're toast. Your tank's empty. You've got to come out. So you can't just keep the same defensive lineman in there the whole time, especially at the 300-pounders. You've got to rotate them. Well, when we rotate our guys, we're bringing in guys that are just as good or just about as good. So that's why that defense is it's hard to deal with. So. And I think we gave them the run today. I really do. Because you saw how many times that we had 5 in the box. Those numbers don't work. You're going to get burned. But it was in order to keep them from passing the ball, and they threw for 90 yards and an interception. So their passing was toast. So anyway, well, I'm glad to hear that Nico is good. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping Heupel's not playing gamesmanship, which he is prone to do. But no matter what, that's great news. Long term, that's great. Even if he can't play against Georgia, it sounds like he'll be playing soon. So I'm going to take it that way. That way I don't get disappointed if he can't play. And we'll know a lot more as the week goes on. I mean, there'll be people at practice and all that kind of stuff. And if he's out there throwing the ball and looking good, then we'll know. So, look, we're 8-1, folks. We're in great shape. We're 5-1 in the SEC. Isn't that right? Yeah, we got, 2 SEC games left, which is Georgia and Vanderbilt. And we've got one more Little Sisters of the Poor game. And the Fighting Possums. We'll go from there. So anyway, thank y'all for showing up after the game. Sorry I'm not my normal jubilant self, but with Nico going down. Big Vol Daddy, how you doing, buddy? He said, we win. Let's do it again. So anyway, I'm going to take off here. I've been on for 40 minutes, and I'm going to go eat something and go to bed. So anyway, thank y'all for showing up, and we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.